All right, let's jump right in. If you're gearing up for the SE Grade 10 Science exam, you are in exactly the right place. We're about to break down the official model papers to build a real data-driven game plan. The goal? To help you study smarter, not just harder. So you open up the science syllabus, right, and you see, 19 units? It's so easy to feel totally overwhelmed. I mean, that is a ton of stuff to get through, and you can really feel the pressure building. Trust me, you are not alone in feeling that way. But here's the thing. What if this exam isn't as random as it seems? What if there's a predictable pattern hiding in plain sight? A pattern that, once you really see it, completely changes the game and how you prep for this thing. Okay, so first things first, Section 1 is all about cracking the code. Before we even think about what to study, we've got to understand the exam's blueprint. We need to figure out where the real points are hiding. All right, so here's the breakdown. The whole theory paper is 75 marks, and it's split into 4 groups. You've got Group A, your standard multiple choice questions, 10 of them, 10 marks, simple enough. Then Group B, 9 super short answers, again, 1 mark each. But pay attention here. The real action is in Groups C and D. Look at those numbers. They're the heavyweights, both worth a whopping 28 marks. This is where your final grade is really made or broken. And this is where our strategy really comes into focus. Zero in on Group D with me for a second. It's only 7 questions, just 7, but nailing those questions gets you 28 marks. Do the math. That's almost 40% of your total score from a tiny handful of questions. It is by far the smartest, most efficient way to study. Okay, so now that we know where to focus, let's talk about what to focus on. In Section 2, we're building your priority study map, and I'm talking about the topics that are literally guaranteed to show up on the exam. No guesswork involved. Now check this out. This quote right here is the key to everything. It confirms that those Group D questions, numbers 17 through 23, cover the exact same 7 topics on every single version of the test. The wording might change a bit, but the topic, it never does. This is your highest priority list, right here. And here it is, the cheat sheet, your Tier 1 priority list. Look how specific this is. Question 17, always ICT. Question 18, always heredity. Jump down to 21, it's going to be wave optics, and 23 will be a lab diagram for gases, either CO2 or ammonia. These 7 topics are basically your secret code to acing Group D. Let's just let that sink in for a moment. 28 marks. By just focusing your energy on mastering these 7 topics, you are locking in 28 points. That's a huge chunk of the exam secured before you even pick up your pen. What a massive head start, right? All right, enough with the theory. Let's make this real. In Section 3, we're going to do a deep dive. We'll look at a couple of these Tier 1 topics, heredity and optics, and see what the actual questions look like on the paper. So here we go. These are pulled straight from the model papers. On the left, you've got a classic 4-mark heredity question about sex determination. And on the right, a 4-marker on optics, this one about eye defects. See? These aren't just vague topic areas. These are the exact kinds of predictable, high-value questions you can bet you'll see. And speaking of that heredity question, this little chart here, this is gold. They will very likely ask you to draw something just like this. It's super simple, right? It just shows how the sperm from the father determines the sex of the baby. Learning to draw this is one of the easiest ways to lock in a few marks. Okay, let's switch over to wave and optics. You're pretty much guaranteed to get a calculation problem here. And this formula, P equals 1 over F, is your best friend. P is the power of the lens, which we measure in diopters, and F is the focal length in meters. You absolutely have to know this one, forwards and backwards. And here's a pro tip that can save you from a silly mistake. It's all about the plus and minus signs. If the power or focal length is positive, you're dealing with a convex lens. If it's negative, it's a concave lens. It seems like a tiny detail, but getting that sign right can be the difference between getting the mark and losing it. Okay, we've got the what and the where. Now for the how. Let's move into our final section, your game plan for exam day. This is how you walk in there and execute with total confidence. You know, having a great study plan is awesome, but it's useless if you run out of time. You've only got 3 hours, so you need a time plan. Here's a solid breakdown. Spend about 15 minutes on the multiple choice, maybe 50 minutes or so on Group C, and give yourself a full hour for those super important Group D questions. And whatever you do, leave yourself 10 minutes at the end to check your work. That's non-negotiable. When you hit a math problem, don't just dive in. Follow these 5 steps every single time. 1. Write down what's given. 2. What are you trying to find? 3. Write out the formula. 4. Plug in the numbers and solve. And 5, and this is a big one, state your final answer with the unit. Seriously, even if you mess up the math, you'll still get points just for showing your method correctly. And finally, a quick list of things to absolutely avoid. These are the common traps that trip people up. First, don't write an essay for a 1-mark question. It's a total waste of time. Second, never ever forget the unit on a calculation. Third, if they ask for the sex determination chart, draw it. And last, know the difference between the litmus tests for CO2 and ammonia. These little things can add up to a lot of lost marks. So there you have it. The pattern is cracked, you know your priority topics, and you have a solid exam day strategy. But look, this is about more than just passing a science test, right? The GPA you get from this exam, that's what opens the door to whatever you want to study next. We've just handed you the map. The real question is, what are you going to do with it?